You have led this department through servant leadership and an example that is second to none. I congratulate you on a great career. I'm really disappointed that it won't be longer. And I want to now allow you to speak and talk about your career and all you have done for Carolina. Thank you very much, Coach.
This morning, when I talked to the team, it was really difficult. We did a Zoom call as long as I have enough people around me to know how to do those things. And that was really, really difficult. And when I came in and I saw the former players in the lounge, that was really difficult. And then when I realized that I was going to walk through that tunnel for the last time as a coach, that was really difficult. So we need to have some humor because I'm going to need it. And so the chancellor, I worry about you, Chancellor, because intellectually you and I are about the same spot, and that worries the hell out of me. Because now I was going to say is now a good time to say April's Fool and say gotcha and get the crap out of here. But the chancellor got it first. These are different times and unusual ways to say things. First time I spoke at my high school graduation's commencement exercises, I wrote it out. When I spoke at my mom's and my dad's funeral, I wrote it out. And in 2007, when I was lucky enough, because a lot of those guys back over there, when I was inducted in the Hall of Fame, I wrote it out. And the reason I did that is because I think I've got a better chance of holding it together. I really need Mickey Bell and Coach Smith here, because at the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies in 2007, Coach Smith slid over to me and said, I've got a $10 bet with Mickey. He thinks you're going to crack up and start crying. I said, Coach, you're in good hands. But if I read it, as opposed to just talking off the cuff, I do have a better chance. But these are different times, unusual ways to say things. In today's times, I should say that I'm not retiring or resigning. I'm opting out. That's the most ridiculous phrase I've ever heard in my life. Why the hell don't you just say I quit? So I'm old school and I can't use those words, but I will tell you that I'm retiring and resigning as a men's basketball coach at North Carolina. It's been a thrill. It has been unbelievable. I've loved it. It's coaching, and that's all I've ever wanted to do since the summer after my 9th grade year in high school. No one has ever enjoyed coaching like I have for 48 years. As a high school coach for 5 years, came back here as Coach Smith's assistant for 10, head coach at Kansas for 15, and now North Carolina for 18. Everybody wants to know the reason, and the reason is very simple. Every time somebody asked me how long I was going to go, I would always say, as long as my health allows me to do it. But deep down inside, I knew that the only thing that would speed that up, if I did not feel that I was any longer the right man for the job. I'm not going to say the best man, because I never thought I was the best at anything. But 15 years at Kansas, I thought I was the right man. And this time at North Carolina, I thought I was the right man. I no longer feel that I'm the right man for the job. The last 6 years have been really good. In 2016, we won the regular season and won the conference tournament championship. And we played for the national championship. Marcus Page made the most unbelievable shot that I've ever seen to send it into overtime. And if we had gotten it into overtime, I think we would have won, but you have to congratulate Villanova. Chris Jenkins comes down and making that big time shot. But we were one of the best, and it was a great game, but we were almost there. In 2017, we made it to the last game again. and we were fortunate enough to win. Kennedy Meeks, Isaiah Hicks, Justin and Theo and Joel and Nick, Nate and all those guys. That time in the locker room reminded me, because I was an assistant in 82. I was in there in 05 and 09 and now in 17. And every year that I was in there after winning a national championship, the first time as Coach Smith's assistant, somebody would say, "Gosh, I wish I were on Franklin Street." And I would laugh. And every time I said, including 82, when I had black hair, that Franklin Street may be pretty good, but nothing's better in this locker room. And that's the way I felt in 17. We were number 1 seed that year. And in 18, it was really a great deal of fun with Theo and Joel. We were number 2 seed. And in 19, we were number 1 seed again. Kenny Williams is back over there. I told him somewhere down the line, we're related. I have a picture on my desk when we lost, when we ran into the really hot Auburn team, that I took Kenny out and I knew the game was over. And I kissed him on the top of the head. And it's one of my favorite pictures. But we were pretty good. And Kenny and Luke, Cam and Kobe, Garrison, that was so much fun. But the last 2 years have been really hard. 2020, we had so many injuries. Yes, it was this year before we get to the tournament, the ACC tournament, I saw that box score from we played Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech during that season. We only played 7 guys. We didn't have Brandon Robinson, didn't have Cole Anthony, and we lost in double overtime. The injuries really did hurt, but I felt that I made mistakes. We were up 3 against Clemson, and I didn't remind the guys to foul. They make a 3 and send it to overtime, and we lost. Up 3 against Duke, and we did foul. And young man from Duke did one of the greatest things I've ever seen, bouncing that ball off the front of the rim and making that basket. But that time I fouled, and it didn't work out either, and we lost in overtime. Wanda's maiden name is Jones, and I told the Jones youngster, Trey and Tyus both were great players at Duke, but I'd never seen anything like that. We had 6 games last year that were decided on last-second shots. We lost all 6 of those. My first year as Coach Smith's assistant, we had 5 games where the other team had the last shot that would have won the game, and they missed all 5. That was the difference between me and Coach Smith. I talked to him about that several years later. Needless to say, I didn't talk to him after last season, even though I talked to him every night. But no one could emphasize rebounding any more than Roy Williams. And we didn't get a box out, and we lost the Notre Dame game on the second shot, didn't get a box out twice, and lost the Duke game. So when those 6 games were decided on last-second shots and we lost all of those, it sort of ate at me all summer. And we beat Syracuse on the road late in the ACC, and the next week lost to them in the ACC tournament. And they just had more fire and more passion, and I didn't get my kids to that level. It's funny and humorous and comical, but so many times over my career, I've had fans say, "Coach, if you can just beat Duke twice, we don't care about anything else." I don't know if they're going to say that right now, because we did beat Duke twice, but we still didn't get done what I wanted to do. I just never got the team this year where I wanted them to go. I just didn't get it done. I didn't get them to buy in and focus on the things that I think are really big in the game of basketball. We got better all season long. I think we got better, but not to the level some of our teams have been. I didn't push the right buttons.